Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and very good morning to all of you. I hope you're safe and sound. Welcome to Melly's Telegram classes. This is the grammar lesson for advanced level. Now that we have talked about the markers of adjective clause, today we're going to talk about the kinds of adjective clause. According to punctuation, an adjective clause has two types. Number one, essential or restrictive adjective clause, and number two, non-essential or non-restrictive adjective clause. Let's talk about the first one. What is a restrictive adjective clause? This kind of adjective clause is used to give essential or important information about the antecedent. The information that a restrictive adjective clause gives about an antecedent is very important to the meaning of the sentence. And if you remove a restrictive adjective clause from a sentence, clarity in the meaning is lost. Let's talk about some of the main points of restrictive adjective clause. Number one, commas are not used. There is no need of using a comma before or after a restrictive adjective clause. Number two, it is used with a common antecedent. Remember, the antecedent of a restrictive adjective clause is usually a common noun, not a proper noun. Number three, it gives important information about its antecedent. If it is deleted, clarity is lost. As I said earlier, you cannot delete a restrictive adjective clause from a sentence. If you delete it, clarity is lost in the meaning. The meaning of the sentence will become ambiguous. And number four, deletion of pronouns is possible in objective case. In objective case of the relative pronouns, we can delete a relative pronoun if the adjective clause is restrictive. Let's have some examples. Number one, the man who left his wallet is coming back for it. Here, the adjective clause is who left his wallet. And the meaning of this adjective clause is very important to the meaning of the sentence. So it is essential for us to know which man. The man who left his wallet. But if you simply say, the man is coming back for it, which man? It's not clear. Number two, the car which is made in Japan is expensive. It is important for us to know which car. The car which is made in Japan. Number three, the man whom Ali helps is poor. Which man whom Ali helps? Number four, the man Ali helps is poor. As I told you earlier, that if the relative pronoun is used in its objective case, we can delete it from the adjective clause if it is restrictive. So from this sentence, we have deleted whom, and it is still correct. Number two, non-essential or non-restrictive adjective clause. A clause that gives extra information about the antecedent is called non-essential or non-restrictive adjective clause. So remember, the information that a non-restrictive adjective clause gives about the antecedent is not important. It means that if you remove it from the sentence, clarity is not lost. The meaning of the sentence will still be clear. Let's talk about some main points. Number one, here commas are required. Remember, if we have a non-restrictive adjective clause, commas are must before and after the adjective clause. Number two, it is used with a proper antecedent. So the antecedent of a non-restrictive adjective clause is usually a proper noun. And number three, it gives extra information about the antecedent. As I told you earlier, it does not give important information. It gives extra information. For example, number one, Ali, who speaks Arabic, is Ahmad's brother. Here, the adjective clause is who speaks Arabic. And the antecedent is Ali. Ali is a proper noun. So if I use this adjective clause or not, the meaning of the sentence is clear. It is not essential for us to know what language Ali speaks. And if you see, we have used a comma before the adjective clause and also after the adjective clause. That's must. Number 2, my grandfather, who lives on a farm, said he would teach me to ride a horse. So here, it is not essential for us to know where he lives. That's why we call it a non-essential or non-restrictive adjective clause. Number 3, Ahmad, who always plays cricket, is an actor. The adjective clause is who always plays cricket, and the antecedent is Ahmad, a proper noun, and it's not important for us to know about cricket. Let's talk about a very important point. Sometimes commas change meanings. Let's have a look at these 2 examples. Number 1, my brother who teaches at Meli is an engineer. In this sentence, we have 2 commas, one before the adjective clause and one after the adjective clause. And number 2, my brother who teaches at Meli is an engineer. Here, we don't have commas. Both of these sentences are correct, but there is a big difference in their meaning. The first example shows that I have only one brother. But the second example shows that I have more than one brother, and I'm talking about one of them. Let's do an oral exercise. Find the essential and non-essential clauses. There are some sentences you have to find in which sentence we have an essential adjective clause and in which sentence we have a non-essential adjective clause. Let me do the first one. John Wayne, who appeared in over 200 movies, was the biggest box office attraction of his time. In this sentence, the adjective clause is who appeared in over 200 movies, and the antecedent is John Wayne, which is a proper noun. And we also have commas. So you can say that it is a non-restrictive adjective clause. Good luck with the rest of them. Let me tell you the answers. Number 2, I refuse to live in any house that Jack built. Here, the antecedent is house. It's a common noun. We don't have comma. That's why we can say that this adjective clause is non-essential or non-restrictive. Number 3, Nancy, who was born in a boxcar somewhere in Scotland, grows homesick every time she hears the wail of a train whistle. Here, the adjective clause is who was born in a boxcar somewhere in Scotland, and the antecedent is Nancy, which is a proper noun, and we also have commas before and after the adjective clause. That's why we can say that it is a non-essential adjective clause. Let's have some more. Let me share the answers with you. Number 4, my new running shoes, which cost more than $100, fell apart during the marathon. It's a non-restrictive adjective clause. Number 5, I lent some money to Abdullah, whose house was destroyed in the flood. It's a non-essential or non-restrictive adjective clause. Number 6, the thing that impresses me the most about America is the way parents obey their children. This is a restrictive or essential adjective clause. And the last one, a physician who smokes and overeats has no right to criticize the personal habits of his patients. It's also a restrictive or essential adjective clause. This concludes our session for today. Do not forget the exercise that you have to perform after watching the same video. Remember this is just a short version of our today's lesson. The very lesson is taught in complete details in our regular classes. Thank you.